What's up? This is Robert from Existence First, and what I want to talk to you about today is the five-factor personality theory. Somebody just asked me, what is the five-factor theory of personality? Because Myers Briggs is quite common, but Myers Briggs has 4 personality traits. So what is this 5 deal, right? It is a major theory, and the reason that I like it is that it was arrived at through like a methodical approach. All right, so check this out. If you were to write down all of the possible traits in someone's personality, right? So here I have a list of a few. Like, somebody could be imaginative, or like active, very nice, hostile, organized, right? Imagine you can list all of these, right? Once you exhaust the whole like human vocabulary for personality traits, then what you'd have to do is a little bit of cleanup, because of course there's going to be redundancy, right? Like people who are nice are probably going to also be described as kind, right? They're almost synonyms, right? So you can test this by if a person A is reported as nice, and then like 99% of the time it correlates with this other word, then you can sort of group them together. So let's say this is one trait, right? And then somebody who's organized is also likely to be on time to their appointments, so let's call that one trait. Somebody who's a people person might be very active, like socially active, people person, talkative. All of those words are going to be together. Somebody who's like impulsive or hostile, some of these negative emotions, those will correlate with each other. And last, imaginative, artistic, and other words, right? So the way that the math works out is that all of these words actually can get grouped into 5 different buckets, or 5 factors, hence the 5-factor theory of personality. So that raises the question, is personality really, the human personality, can it really be distilled down to 5 factors? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to answer that today. But just so you're familiar with the model, the name that they gave these is these imaginative and artistic people are called open to experience. So O. Organized, punctual people are called conscientious, and these are the extroverts, right? So this is the trait of extroversion. Nice and kind people are agreeable, and impulsive, hostile, angry people are neurotic, with an N, neurotic, not erotic. So here's the mnemonic ocean, OCEAN, right? So that's how you can remember the 5 personality traits. And you might see some similarities to Myers Briggs. Obviously, Myers Briggs has this, trait of introversion or extroversion. In the 5-factor model, if you're an introvert, you're simply low on you score low on the trait of extroversion, right? What else? So that's similar. The P and the J might correlate a little bit with like conscientiousness, right? Organized people are usually J's, judgers. So there's a little comparison, but I like 5-factor theory a little bit more than the Myers Briggs because of the way, like mathematically, the way it came about. Anyways, this is not the main point of the video. The main point of the video is a couple offshoots, right? It's fun to take these personality tests and find out, oh, I'm like 67% conscientious, or 67th percentile of conscientious, or whatever. Or I'm an introvert or an extrovert, right? It's kind of fun to take these little tests and find out about yourself. So the question we have to ask is like, why are we interested in personality, or what's the payoff? Why is it so popular? And if the answer is that we find out about ourselves, then what is our really like root understanding of the self? Do we have this like on the subconscious assumption that the self is this that we as a person, we are this one thing, and then we just have to figure it out, or we have to like move the leaves off of the ground to actually see, like, oh, we are this is who we are, we're an introvert, we're an extrovert. There might be a little bit of truth to that, but in all honesty, I don't pay a lot of attention to, no, I pay attention to personality in a practical way. For instance, I would not ask a friend who's like very low in conscientiousness to pick me up or take me to the airport, right? Because you never know what their schedule is going to be like. But in terms of at least philosophical meanings, all right? So you can ask a question of, do we choose our personality? Can personality change? If we want to be more extroverted, can we do that? If we want to be more organized or conscientious, can we do that? Or are we stuck with this trait? So that leads to the question of actually one of the introductory videos, I think it's called what does existence first mean? So you'll see it I'll put the link up. I explained that part of existentialism, the philosophy of existentialism, is that existence precedes essence. And these words are like code words for existence. Means your actions or your decisions come before like your identity, right? So existentialism emphasizes that you're free to act how you want, and your choices then define who you are, right? It's not the other way around. The other way around would say that your essence is going to define your actions, and I feel like that is a pitfall of subscribing to these personality theories, because you take the little test, it says you're an introvert, and so you think, oh, because that's my identity, I can't do these other things. I can't go to parties, or I can't enjoy myself at a party. Or it says, all of these personality books say that introverts get their energy from being alone. And I went out last night in downtown San Jose, and I guess I score as an introvert in these tests, but I had a fantastic time, and my energy went up as the night went on. So I don't want to think that because I'm some way I can't do something, or I'm limited, right? I mean, what if you thought that, what if you scored low on conscientiousness, and your finances are in a mess because you don't keep a budget, and then one day you want to get your finances in order, but you have this belief that, oh, well, I'm low in conscientiousness, so that's my trait, so I'm always going to be like this. No, come on, let's get practical here. And you can always make changes in your life by learning, by trying new things. Kind of makes me think of growth mindset versus fixed mindset. I think that's a book by Carol Dweck. But in any case, so that's the impact of personality. I think I might make another video on Yes, I'm going to make this point right now. One last point before I end the video. So, when I was in undergrad psychology, taking tests and measurements class, we all took this personality test, right? Which measured 4 of these traits. It did not measure neuroticism, and I still don't understand it. I mean, were they just like scared? Were they like too cautious that they didn't want us to? They thought that we would feel bad if somebody scored high on neuroticism, and they would feel bad about themselves. I mean, neuroticism, yes, the term is kind of loaded because it has all of these different meanings throughout history, history of psychology. But basically, that's just the word they came up with. If I were to name it, I would just call it like negative emotions, right? Because that's how it's defined in the textbooks. It is the tendency for one to experience negative emotions, which means anything, anxiety, depression, anger, right? So, I mean, yeah, some people in life, they do tend to experience more of these negative emotions than others. But, I mean, I don't know, is that something to run and hide about? And then you also find these textbooks saying, well, these personality traits are not better than others, or one trait is not better than another trait. And all I could think of is like, yes, they are. Like, sometimes it's good to be organized and on time, right? Maybe not in all contexts, like if it's vacation time and your bus is like 2 minutes late, like, so what? But there are correlations, like people who are high in conscientiousness, on average, the studies show that those people live longer lives. And why is that? Because these people have they have their shit together. They go to the gym, they eat well because they're thoughtful about their routines, and they're also probably a little bit more cautious. Anyways, that wraps up personality, this personality video. If you have questions, just write it in the comments below. And last but not least, remember to put your existence first.